Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you everything I made during the year of 2024. So this year I completed 14 sewing projects, which seems to be pretty average for me. And I'm really happy with almost everything I made. I have a lot of great pieces to show you, so let's just jump right in. Okay, so first up is my most recently completed project. It's this beautiful dress I made from the Silver Saga Patterns Ella dress pattern. And as you can see, it has this beautiful V neckline and gorgeous ruching and gathering underneath the bust, which gives it a really unique look. I made mine up in a size 38, which fit me perfectly, and I noticed that this pattern company seems to have a little bit less ease built into their patterns compared to other companies, which is kind of nice. I sewed mine up in this lightweight chiffon fabric that has this beautiful floral print on it, and close up, the middle of the flowers actually even have some sparkles on them. And I've had this fabric in my stash for a little while, but I was a bit intimidated to sew with chiffon. But I finally felt like I had the skills to do it, and I also got a serger recently, so I gave it a go, and I'm really happy with how this dress turned out. I did make some modifications from the original pattern, so I had originally cut out the long sleeve version of this dress, but I didn't really like how heavy it looked on me, so I did crop the sleeves to make them more of these like 1930s butterfly sleeve effect, and I really love how it looks. And then I also felt like the bottom of the dress was just looking kind of long and heavy, so I cropped it and then added this gathered ruffle on the bottom, and I think overall it just gives it a really whimsical kind of feeling. I did also make a waist tie to kind of cinch in the waist a little bit, and overall I love this dress. It is see-through, so eventually I think I'll make a matching brown slip to go with it. But I just adore how it turned out. It's really light and floaty, and I finally overcame my fear of working with chiffon, so that's good as well. So next up, another dress, and this is one of the first things I made this year. I made this green silky dress from the pattern McCall's 8382, and it's by the designer Brandy Joan. And as you can see, it's just this really slinky, sleeveless dress. And the interesting thing about this dress is definitely the bust detail in the front. And it has a tie as well as this little keyhole detail as well. The back is really low cut, it scoops out, and then there's a zipper in the center back. And it also has princess seams to give it shape. It was a little bit challenging to make this because it is made of a polyester satin fabric, so it did fray a lot and it was a little bit slippery. And actually, this is the project that inspired me to finally get a serger, because I was sewing this dress without a serger, and I thought this is the last time I'm going to work with fabrics like this without a serger, and it's so much easier to just sew fabrics like this with a serger. So I did make this dress in a size 14, which is my usual size in McCall's patterns, although I do find they can run somewhat big. This dress did run fairly big on me, so I did have to take out quite a bit in the back. The dress is also completely lined on the inside with the same fabric, so it looks really neat and tidy. It was a good learning experience to understand how to fully line dresses that have these narrow sleeves. So I do feel like I learned a lot making this dress. I do have a whole video about the process of making this, so if you're interested, you should definitely check that one out. I'll link it above for you. Okay, next up, another dress. I definitely made a lot of dresses last year, but this is the Vicky Sews Leora dress, and I made this earlier this spring. I made it out of a cotton waffle jersey, so it's like a soft cotton fabric that has a little bit of stretch, and it's got this really unique waffle print. And I just fell in love with the fabric. I felt it was something that I would actually reach for and wear, and I did wear this dress a lot in the spring because having the soft cotton just makes it really practical. And I made this dress a size up from my usual size because this fabric didn't end up having enough stretch for the pattern. And I also added in a side zip as well to make it easier to get in and out of. Just because my fabric didn't have enough stretch, I think if you used a super stretchy fabric, that wouldn't be an issue. The main design details on this dress are the cutout at the waist, which is really flattering, and there's also this gathering at the bust, so you can kind of adjust the gathers, and then you can play around with how you like to style the ties as well. This is a winner of a pattern. I would definitely make this dress again because it's comfy, it's cute, it's breathable, and it's something I reached for a ton this summer. Okay, next up is yet another dress. This one doesn't look very good on the hanger, so you'll just have to kind of take a closer look at it when I try it on. But this is made from the New Look 6731 pattern, and it's this cutout dress. It has gathered elastic straps and an open back, and the straps kind of crisscross across your back. So this pattern is great for the hottest days of summer when you want to feel like you're not wearing anything at all. I made it out of this cotton poplin fabric that has a little bit of stretch, and I also fully lined it in a white cotton poplin as well. So it looks really nice and tidy on the inside. I do have a whole video showing you how I made this because I do think this is a really beginner friendly dress. So if you're interested in making a dress like this for yourself, I will link the video for you. I walk you through how to make it, and I also show you how to line it, which is something the pattern instructions don't show you how to do. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll link it for you. I've made this dress silhouette before. I wear these a lot during the summer. I just think they're really modern, cute. I love the playful vibe. The fit is pretty forgiving. And this is just a dress that I love and I got a lot of wear out of this summer. And I forgot to mention, I did make a size 12 in this, and I did modify the front a little bit because it kept coming out pretty wide on me in the front. So I just kind of narrowed and scooped out the side of the bodice a little bit to get the fit I wanted. Okay, let's keep powering through all these dresses. So this is the Fibre Mood Lucille dress pattern, and I made it in this lightweight polyester. It's kind of like a matte satin, and it's got black and white stripes, which I just think is a really cool, chic, timeless design. And I was really excited to make this dress, but I did have several issues when I made it. First of all, I cut out the pattern without adding seam allowance because I forgot that you need to add seam allowance to Fibre Mood patterns. So that was a huge disappointment. So basically I had to sew this together with the narrowest possible seam allowance. I had to kind of play around and add some extra panels in the skirt to make it work. So I'm happy I got the job done because I was really excited about this fabric, but I think if I had the opportunity to make it again, cut it out properly and sew it properly, it could have turned out a lot better. I also think if I was to make it again, I would maybe line these ties because they only look good from one side. So I maybe just play around with the pattern a bit so that these ties are double-sided. Although if you were using a fabric that looked similar from right and wrong side, you wouldn't need to worry about that. I also wouldn't mind lining the bodice because I just never like how it looks to have an invisible zipper kind of sticking out without a lining. But overall, I love this pattern. I think it's really chic. You can play around with these ties. You can kind of tie them like this, or you can twist them around each other and tie them in the back. So there's a little bit of flexibility. And I like that it shows a little bit of skin without showing a ton. One thing to keep in mind with this pattern is it is drafted with negative ease in the waist. That's never something that I want to hear because I just feel like I would never want something to be so tight on my waist that it has negative ease. So I think the sizing is a little bit odd. I did grade from a 38 at the bust to a 36 at the waist and a 34 at the hips. Although because I did end up kind of patchworking this dress together, it's hard to even comment on the sizing just because I essentially made the best with what I had. But just something to keep in mind if you want to make this dress. Love how it turned out. I think if you didn't cut it out wrong like I did, it's actually a fairly straightforward sew and it's not too challenging to make at all. So I did really like this and I hope to make it again one day, but cutting out the pattern pieces to have the right amount of seam allowance. Second last dress of the year. This one looks horrible on the hanger, so just take a look at it when I try it on. But this is the McCall's 8525, and I made it out of this rayon fabric. It's beautiful, it's green, it's got a very tight weave. So in person, it's very lustrous and it almost looks silky. The only thing I'll say about it is that it wrinkles a lot, so that's a bit of a bummer. So the main design detail with this one is the cutout at the waist and the fact that the top and the bottom are attached by this ring. Now, if I'm being really picky, I'll say I don't love how this pattern was drafted. I like the look of the dress, but a few things I don't like. All of these raw edges are finished with bias tape, which is just really fiddly, and honestly, like, I just really don't like the way that looks. The other thing I don't like is how the back of the bodice is constructed. It's kind of gathered in an elastic at the back, and then you just close it behind the neck with a hook and eye closure, but I just think it looks really odd. It looks like you kind of have a puffy back, and I just think there may have been a better way to finish the back. So if I ever make this dress again, I would definitely keep that in mind. But honestly, I'm looking at this, and if I was ever to make this again, I would not use bias tape to finish these seams. I think I would fully line everything and encase the raw edges within the lining. And again, I would kind of change how the back looks. I think when this is all steamed and perfect, it looks pretty good on, especially from a distance. But up close, there's just something a little bit off with the fit. So this is not my favorite one, unfortunately. So I do have one more dress I made this year, but it was more of a special occasion dress. So before we move on, I want to kind of rate out of the 6 dresses I made this year, what my favorite was and which one I wore most. So I think So I think in terms of which one I wore most, it has to go to this one because it was just really practical. I found it was easy to transition this from spring to summer, and the pattern's really comfortable. The cotton was great. It was a super easy sew. So this one is the winner in terms of most practical and most worn. I think my favorite in terms of style is actually the Fibre Mood Lucille dress because I really love how I played with the stripe placement. And I think if I had the ability to go back and get this fabric again, I would totally remake this dress to be a little bit of a higher quality dress. But in terms of the style, I absolutely love how this one turned out. And I think it's pretty wearable in the summer as well. It's a little bit dressy, but it's not over the top. So this one won in terms of my favorite style for this year. Okay, so let's move on a bit here. This is the only skirt I made this year, and this is made from McCall's 8174. And funny enough, this was actually intended to be a dress, so this is made up from a dress pattern. And I had made the skirt for the dress and I made the top, but when I tried them on at the same time, I just hated how it was looking. Quite frankly, I thought the top pattern wasn't drafted very well. It wasn't my favorite. It might be my fault for choosing a thicker fabric that's harder to work with, but it just wasn't working for me at all. So I cut them in half, and I really liked how the skirt was looking. So I decided to just finish it off as a skirt, and I'm glad I did. So as you can see, the details it has is this ruching on the side, and then it has this asymmetrical bottom to the skirt. And I just finished the waistband using non-roll soft elastic, and then I just added a hem to the bottom. And this fabric is a stretch velvet from Mood Fabrics, and I really love it. It's got these, it's like navy blue with these abstract white cats on it. So I think if you're up close, you can realize that it's cats, but from far away, it just kind of looks like a really chic blue and white print. So I'm a little disappointed the dress didn't work out, but I'm happy I at least have the skirt, and I made this to wear for the holidays. So I'm going to be wearing this on Christmas Day, maybe for New Year's. So I am happy to have this in my collection, and I don't usually work with velvet, so it was kind of fun just to do something a little bit different. Okay, so next up, I had some fun with this really pretty block printed cotton fabric, and I made myself a two-piece beach cover-up because I did go on a vacation this summer to visit family in a warmer part of Canada. So we were on a lakefront property, and I just thought it would be really nice to have a fun cover-up. So I made this really quickly before I left, so I didn't have a lot of time, but I did make a self-drafted sarong style skirt, and then I made this top, which is made from a pattern by Galia Couture, and it's their Sevilla top pattern I got on Etsy. I did kind of forego the adjustable straps and some of the finer details, but I just made a quick version of it and it worked well for my purposes. I think the two-piece is cute. I mean, if you're really looking to like cover up a lot of skin, a two-piece cover-up isn't the best because you still have a lot exposed, but if you're going for like a cute look, I think this was perfect, and I enjoyed wearing it, and it was just fun to make something a lot different from what I would typically make. Okay, next up we have this stunner, which is probably, I mean, arguably, definitely my favorite piece I made this year. It's this really fun, whimsical dress that I made for the Toronto Frocktails event, which was this past April. I have a whole two-part series about making this dress. I do apologize that the second part took so long to put up. I am going to be sharing a little bit with where I've been and why I haven't been posting, but I won't bore you with that right now. But I do have a whole two-part series about this. So if you're interested, I really dive in on exactly how I made this dress. But to give you the Kohl's notes, I did make it using the Rose Cafe bustier pattern. I did a lot of fitting in the top and then a half circle skirt on the bottom. The back has a center back zip, and there's these cute little ribbon sleeves as well as a ribbon belt for the waist. Making this was like the most fun I've had with sewing in a while because it was just so fun to have an excuse to make something so whimsical and over the top, and it was nice to have an event to wear it to. I'm gonna keep this forever because I'm so proud of it. It fits me perfectly, and I would love to have an event, maybe like a wedding or something like that, that I could wear this to in the future. It's made, the top layer is a embroidered tulle I got off Etsy from a store in India. There's a few layers of tulle, and then the lining fabric that I used for the top as well as the skirt is this microfiber peachy fabric, and it worked out really well. So making this was a ton of fun. It took a really long time, but it's absolutely perfect, and I'm completely obsessed with this dress. Like, I just love it. So please, please, please go check out my two-part series on this because I know these videos don't look like they take a lot of work, but they actually really do, and I really appreciate your support. So please go check out that series on my channel. Okay guys, this next one might be surprising to you, and I kind of wanted to throw a curveball in here. I made this figure skating dress this year because you guys probably don't know, but I do figure skate. I've been figure skating my whole life. I used to be fairly competitive as a kid, and now as an adult, I just do it for fun. But I am competing this year, and I thought I would have a go at making my own figure skating competition dress. I didn't want to put any pressure on myself. I thought I'd just have fun with it. But it ended up being so fun and such a cool process. So the base of the dress is made from a jelly sewing pattern. It's their Olivia dress. And you can see there's a mix of power mesh as well as nylon spandex fabric for the main part of the dress. I cut an asymmetrical skirt and I did all of the dyeing on the skirt and the bodice myself. I attached this beautiful applique I got off Etsy, and then there's the built-in bottoms under the skirt as well. And I did all of the stoning myself as well, which was so fun. The back of it is just really simple. It has the mesh and then kind of like a lower back that I bejeweled. And I'm honestly so proud of this. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was easier than I thought to make something like this. And there's so many great resources out there that I'm gonna link in my description box if you've ever been interested in sewing costumes for dance or skating or anything like that. I feel like it can seem a little bit intimidating, but if I can do it, anyone can do it. I actually enjoyed making this so much. It might be something that I want to do a bit more in the future, thinking about sewing costumes, maybe even for other people. So yeah, that's my figure skating dress. I hope you enjoyed seeing this kind of curveball. Let me know what you thought of this below, but I'm so proud of it. It was so much fun picking out the stone colors, doing all the designs of the stoning. It was just like, it was so much fun to make this dress. Okay, we're down to the last 3 items, so let's keep moving on here. Okay, next up is the Blanca flight suit, which is a pattern by Closet Core Patterns. And I made it in this really fun yellowy green linen I got from Blackbird Fabrics. And I've been wanting to make this flight suit pattern for years at this point. And on the pattern envelope, one of the designs they feature is quite similar to this. So I was really inspired by the fact that they used that greeny linen on the envelope. So I decided to give it a go. I made it up in a size 8 with no modifications, which I know is kind of crazy of me because jumpsuits are notoriously hard to fit, but you know, just cut as is, it fit me well. The only one modification I made is I widened the legs a bit. I actually did what's called an athletic upper thigh adjustment, which I'd never heard of before. It essentially gives you a little bit more room in the front of your thigh. So if you do kind of have athletic thighs that stick out from your body, that might be a good adjustment to check out. It's got a ton of fun design details like the pockets, the zipper, these patch pockets on the front. It's got these pleats in the back, which are kind of unique. And then the bum pockets as well as the waistband. I did do some contrast top stitching in this kind of like light gray color, which was risky, but I have to say my top stitching has gotten a lot better over the years and it looks really good. So I am proud of myself that my top stitching turned out so well. Unfortunately, I've only worn this a couple times because I kind of finished it right before winter started. So I made it and then it got freezing. So I didn't really wear it out much, but I do feel like this can carry you through a lot of different seasons because of the linen. Like it could be spring with some layers, summer on its own, fall maybe with some layers. So I do feel like it's versatile. And I think the style of it is like a nice bridge between casual because it's a jumpsuit, but it does feel a little bit like smartened up because I added some details like this, you know, gold circular zipper pull and the top stitching. So I just think depending on what accessories and things you wear with it, you could really dress it up or down. And I mean, who doesn't love a jumpsuit, right? Like you throw it on and it's your outfit all in one and you don't even have to think about it. So I would highly recommend this pattern. If I ever made it again, I would raise the waist a little bit, which is something that I saw most people do because it doesn't hit me at my true waist. Oh, one other thing I did actually is I had to narrow the shoulders, which is kind of crazy because I have super wide shoulders. So I was kind of shocked I had to do that. So just an FYI, I did have to like bring in the shoulders a little bit as well. But yeah, this is my Blanca flight suit and I absolutely love it. Okay, last 2 things. I made this vest all the way back at the start of the year. I was inspired by a vest from the brand Sezane, which was made of real shearling, but I wanted to dupe it and try to make my own. I used the new Craft House Everyday Waistcoat pattern as like a basis, and then I modified it from there to get the fit I wanted. And I do actually wear this quite a bit, and I did some like nice details like top stitching from the outside so that the seam allowance stays down, and it's just really soft and cozy on the inside because it has that fleece backing. So I love this one. I think it looks really chic. I honestly think I did a great job duping the Sezane one, and it just adds a little something to your outfit. So this was kind of a fun and different project for me, and I really love the result. Okay, last but not least, this is a sweater slash jacket. I made it from the Greta sweater pattern from a brand called Sasha Crafts on Etsy. I did make a size extra large because I wanted it really oversized, and I was just worried that it looked really small in some of the pictures. So it turned out oversized in the body, but the sleeves are like ridiculously long. I could go back and shorten them, and if I ever make it again, I'll probably like lengthen the bodice a bit and shorten the sleeves a little bit. But I used this nice floral fleece for the outside, and then I actually lined it all in a soft white fleece so that it's comfy on the inside and the outside. I did the zipper yoke at the front here as well as the band at the bottom and on the sleeves in this cotton rib knit in white. And I like the contrast between the teddy fleece and then the rib knit. I just think it looks really cool. I did add some little design details, like I went out of my way to get this silver circular zipper pull, which I just think looks really modern and cool. And I just love this sweater. This is definitely my most worn thing of the year. Like, it's also so warm because it has 2 layers of like really thick fleece. So during the spring and fall, it's kind of like a jacket on its own. So I was wearing it a lot as a jacket. I like having things that are comfy and cute and practical that I can throw on and I feel somewhat put together. The only thing I would say about this is I feel like unfortunately this ribbing fabric I had gotten seems a little bit cheap because it seems like it doesn't have very good recovery, so that's kind of a bummer. And if I was to ever make it again, I would just double check that I've got a high quality rib knit fabric before I sew it so that it doesn't stretch out and I'm not disappointed about it. Okay, so that's everything I made this year. So lots of variety, although I will say I feel like this was a big year for dresses. I remember feeling at the end of last year like I had focused more on other things and I hadn't made as many dresses, and I really do enjoy making dresses because they're just so much fun to wear. Like, they're so pretty and frivolous, and I had a lot of fun just sewing things that I kind of wanted to sew for fun. I think moving into next year, I might focus a little bit more on like practical things, like I might make some jeans. I have a winter coat cut out that I want to share with you, so I'll be doing some of that as well. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. I hope everyone has a great start to 2025, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.